Hi, this is Deborah Cora, and I'd like to update this blog on how to create your own children's book. The last I updated the blog, I was publishing with blurb.com. I've made a lot of changes since that time, so I'll be withdrawing my book from Blurb. But that's not to say that I'm not happy with Blurb. They provided a very nice product, and I'll show you what the finished product looks like. Here is a hard copy with a dust jacket. This is the front cover, and this is the back cover. As you can see, they do provide an ISBN for free, but you can't use that ISBN outside of Blurb, whereas with other similar organizations you can use the ISBN that they provide. This is the inside of the dust jacket. And this is the back of the dust jacket. That's Karen, the illustrator, and that's her art gallery at home, her studio at home. Since I was working in Blurb, which is almost 2 years ago, they started working with Microsoft Word, and now there is a Microsoft Word add-in feature to Blurb, and that might make working with text easier. I don't know. Blurb has what's called templates. There's just blocks that you insert your graphics into, and blocks that you insert your text into. And so I didn't really like that everything looks so blocked out to me. But I'm not complaining about Blurb. At any rate, because I wanted more flexibility and more freedom, I ended up purchasing Microsoft Publisher and publishing with Lulu.com. You don't have to use Microsoft Publisher. You can, in fact, use Microsoft Word and create your book with Microsoft Word. I'm not aware if Microsoft Word gives you a 2-page spread so that you can view your book at a 2-page spread, which is almost critical. You really do need to be able to do that. So if Microsoft Word allows you to view your document in a 2-page spread, by all means you need to use that feature. Certainly Microsoft Publisher does allow you to work in a 2-page spread. Microsoft Publisher costs approximately $200, maybe less if you can get it on sale. There is a real learning curve to learning how to create a book with Microsoft Publisher, and I'll put out a video myself on the basics of doing that. I had a very difficult time learning how to create a book with Microsoft Publisher. You know, there's not really a manual on that, although there are some books available that you can try. I tried some of them and they didn't seem to be much help. So, you know, a 2-page spread, this is an example of a 2-page spread. Obviously, you can see both the right-hand page and the left-hand page. Because consistently, every beginning chapter will start on a right-hand page. Let's see here. Throughout the book, your chapters will always begin on a right-hand page. And you're also going to need to start your the first line. It's approximately 4.5 inches down, maybe 5. I created a custom document in Microsoft Publisher, which allowed me to edit and do changes. It gave me a bit more freedom than just working in straight blocks. But I don't say that Microsoft Publisher is very easy to use. It would not be right of me to say that. It's not easy to use. Another thing you need to decide that in advance and that you don't want to change, because if you do change it, you'll have to change the entire book, is your font size. Now, in this case, this prototype book, I have a font set at 12 point. Well, I don't like 12 point font, even for my age reader, which is approximately 8 to, say, 14 years old is about my average reader target. 12 point font is probably okay for kindergartners, first graders, second graders, third graders, maybe even fourth graders. But since my book is actually for both adults and children, and it includes more mature adolescents in the area of age 14, I thought that 12 point was too elementary. So I switched to 11 point font, and then I had to reformat this entire book. Because if you so much as, once you get the whole book into Publisher, if you eliminate a paragraph in a chapter, or you add in a paragraph in a chapter, you're going to have to go through that, say, 15-page chapter and edit every single page. And if you do something like change the font size, you're going to have to reformat the document from beginning to end, and it's really a lot of work. That's why these online publishing companies, they'll ask you, do you want them to format it for you? And it can cost quite a bit of money, and that's because formatting your book is a lot of work. So the best thing to do is basically have your document nearly in the form that you want it. In other words, you're not going to be adding and subtracting paragraphs. You're not going to be making major changes. I mean, you can change a line here and there. You can change maybe 3 lines pretty easily, as long as you can compensate by adding in maybe 3 lines. You have some creativity, but not a lot. So you need to basically have your document in almost finished form with minimal amount of editing planned out in advance. And that includes making sure that your margins are set in the beginning. For the gutter, which is the middle of the page here, that's the gutter. There needs to be a little bit of extra space. The margins will be the same on the top and on the side and on the bottom, but here in the middle you're going to add in a little bit of extra space to compensate for that gutter. Okay, so a few other things to avoid if you use Microsoft Publisher. With your graphics, do not use the shadow feature or the transparency feature in Microsoft Publisher for your graphics, because the online printers cannot accommodate them. Although I have heard of a way that you can flatten those transparencies, but I ended up not having to use it, so I'm not going to get into that, how to do that. What a shadow is, or a transparency is say you create an oval document in Microsoft Publisher. There's a feature in MS Publisher that automatically puts a shadow or gray area around your graphic that makes it look shadowed or three-dimensional. But the online printer won't accept it, so you just find the shapes feature in Microsoft Publisher that will give an oval shape to your graphic, if oval is what you want. There's a variety of shapes you can choose from, and by using the shape feature, it won't automatically put a graphic around your, put a shadow around your graphic. Another thing that the online printers can't easily accommodate is drop caps. A drop cap, I don't have them, but I did. I had to eliminate them because they don't accept, they can't accommodate them. Would be, for instance, if this O in Once Upon a Time, the O dropped down to, a few points down into the next sentence. It's important to know these sorts of things about the drop caps and the shadows, because if your book is very large, if it contains a lot of graphics, it can take as long as 20 minutes to upload to Lulu. That's just the upload, not everything else that you have to go through. And it can be very frustrating to sit there and upload your document for 20 minutes and have it get rejected over drop caps or shadows. So those things you definitely want to avoid. So whether you create your book in Microsoft Publisher or Microsoft Word, you'll save, if you're going to publish with Lulu, you'll save it as an Adobe PDF document. And then if you create a custom document like I did, in Microsoft Publisher, a 6x9 is considered to be a custom document. So not only do you save it as a PDF, you have to save it as a custom document versus a publisher document. So that's a little bit complicated. I'll try to, when I do the Microsoft Publisher video, I'll see if I can do some screenshots of what it is to save your document as a custom document. Okay, well, oh, and then another thing, if you're using Microsoft Publisher, you can see the page numbers all on the left-hand screen of Microsoft Publisher. That does not necessarily mean that they are inserted into the document. You have to actually hit the insert key and insert your page numbers. When I do the Microsoft Publisher document, I'll demonstrate that, as well as creating headers and footers. I don't have an example of a headers and footers in this copy, but a headers and footers, well, the footers are the page numbers basically. Headers would be, for instance, if it's not here, it's in the final version, but if on this story is called The Little Shoeshine Boy, if on this side of the page I had, well, no, I wouldn't do it on a blank page, sorry about that, let's go to a different page, because nothing goes on blank pages. No page numbers, no headers, no footers, nothing. This story is called The Little Shoeshine Boy. Now, headers and footers would be that here it would say at the top for the header, The Little Shoeshine Boy. But on this side of the page, it would say Tales from the Enchanted Forest, because that's the name of the book. And that's how it is throughout the entire document, except on blank pages. Tales from the Enchanted Forest is on the left-hand side, and the name of the story is on the right-hand side. So try to keep in mind that everything needs to be consistent throughout your document, so that when you open it up, all the graphics are identically centered to the same 1/8 of an inch from top to bottom throughout the entire graphic. And all first lines on a chapter all begin at 4.5 or 5.0. You're going to have to make sure, if you have captions in your graphics, that they are all the same size font throughout the entire document. You need to make sure that the title is the same size font throughout the entire document. So there is a lot of work to be done. And for now, I'll just end it with that, and until I produce my next video for you. Thank you for your interest.